The first thing when you work on an MFI pump is to know that this here is not a handle to lift the MFI pump up. That is the barometric cell. And if you lift the pump up by it, the barometric pressure is way off. This is very sensitive. You may not see it, but it's a very thin metal and it moves, and you cannot lift the pump by the barometric cell. It's a very sensitive item. This is your pump open on one side. What you see is it's a variable displacement piston pump. When you change the gas pedal, you see how it changes, the rack changes the stroke of the piston pump. And then you have to make sure, see that? And you have to make sure everything is free and returns nicely. And when you turn it, you want to look into these holes here and make sure your pistons are all going up and down as you turn the pump. I'm turning it the wrong way. You should turn it this way. See that? Always check that all your pistons are good, and you turn them, and you have to watch if the bottoms are good. You go through, you look through these holes there and make sure all pistons, when you turn the pump, are moving fully up and down, and your rack returns fast and easy. Always make sure your rack moves freely and returns easy. You can look at it in there. You see that, where your adjuster is. Your rack needs to be very free. Always make sure your rack moves easy. You can see it here. Your springs have to be in place and not come off. Here's your springs. And also make sure that this little spacer hasn't slipped out of position. That's your pump. You turn and make sure, looking at these holes here, all the pistons are actually going up and down, and it's a variable displacement pump with a stroke of your piston changes with that. You see how I operate the throttle here, and it changes your stroke, and when you move it, your pump needs to return easily like that, full stroke. See that? Your pump has a centrifugal advance here, so the faster you spin, the more it advances the rack. So you see here how that lever has to push the rack forward and backwards, and that moves your little mixture ball on your space cam. And the space cam gives you the true mixture per RPM and rack position. And that is super critical. A very small difference in the space cam makes a huge difference in the amount of fuel. So if you modify it, you only take a couple of thou off at a time in a specific section. Your pump has a camshaft for each piston, and that's in here in the lower section, and usually you can clean those up pretty good to make sure your pistons are moving freely. There's your end cover. It has the spring for the adjuster. Make sure there's an O-ring behind that, and it also has the seal there for the thermostat. Just make sure it's clean and all functional. Not much to do here. Parts are getting hard to find for these MFI pumps. That's the Bosch seal kit, the F026T03026, and you will need the you need the seals for these, and that's the 1410206 020. Porsche doesn't sell them, but you can get them for a 280 SL Mercedes, they are the same ones. So make sure your seals are always good.